Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go to the very hot news. Hot, I mean really hot, because just a couple of hours ago Ukraine launched a strike on the Russian Millerva military airfield, which is located here in the Rostov region not far away from Ukrainian border. And hell yeah, there were at least 15 of the Kabooms reported on the territory of the airfield. Well, Russians as usual say that they've shut down everything, as we know, and just some of the debris landed to their military facility. Yeah. Well, here we go with this military airfield. So before, Russia stored there many of the fighter jets, but now it's mostly the base for the Russian helicopters, and still they store some of the MiG-29 aircraft. Those airplanes fly very rarely and they require maintenance. Also, there was the information that Russia wants to transfer those airplanes to North Korea as exchange for the North Korean soldiers. So yes guys, right away we have the awesome news for Ukraine. I'm still waiting for the satellite image confirmation, but you know, ground images were provided with something burning there. I would say that every night Ukrainian drones fly somewhere to Russia, causing lots of the kabooms. And remember, this big kaboom of the ammunition depot also happened yesterday in the Rostov region. Yeah, poor Rostov kabooming every day, but you know, it is bordering Ukraine, so it's quite logical that Russia has lots of the infrastructure for their military in that region. So actually it is one of the biggest ammunition depots out there in Russia, and part of it was kaboom just with the help of the single drone strike. Like, drones now really matter, and we can see it, my friends, in this war. A couple of days ago I've told you about Novoshakhtinsky oil refinery facility, which was also kaboom. Well, this facility today confirmed no go. It completely ceased its operation. And you know guys, this oil refinery produced roughly 15,000 tons of the diesel fuel and oil for the Russian military needs. Again, a huge success which happened just because of the drone strike. So even if Ukraine doesn't have its own ballistic missiles with a long range, but the long-range drones may at least partially cover the needs for Ukraine to cut the supplies for Russia deep inside the Russian territory. And what happened the last week was craziness for Russia. The intensity of the strikes rose very high. I think like that it was roughly half a year ago. And the thing that also should be hit is the production of the Russian weaponry, for example, Russian armored vehicles, because they continue to struggle with that on the front lines. But we have the article from the Wall Street Journal that Russia still has some of the tanks in their storages, roughly 2,600 units, which Wall Street Journal says should be enough for 2 years of war. I think that's nonsense, because for almost 3 years of war, Russia lost roughly 11,000 tanks. So 2,600 tanks will last for less than a year, and Russia also needs the tanks to protect Russia after all. Russia is big and they might have some of the hidden enemies who sleep and see how they take Siberia. Guys, you see this airplane? It's Ilyushin 76 modification Postanovщик Помех, so electronic warfare airplane, the only unit that was built in Soviet Union and maintained in the Russian Air Force. This thing is actually very powerful and can jam electronic signals, or it's better to say could jam, because today it was kaputted. Here you can see it again, exactly the same aircraft with the same registration number. And one more image is over here. However, it wasn't sabotage done by Ukraine. No, Russians cut this airplane themselves, because they think that they don't need it, but the Russian Z community and the Russian patriots are screaming that this airplane actually was needed to jam the signals for surveillance drones of the NATO countries, for example. But the Russian Defense Ministry think otherwise, and they start to cut this only unit. Guys, we saw how Russia attacks with the China-made golf carts. They also use electrical scooters, but now we see that Russia uses civilian vehicles to advance on the front lines across the fields. In this case, I guess that it is Niva on the front and maybe standard Zhiguli on the back. Yeah, you don't need to know Russian or Ukrainian to understand what happened, then you see this sign. Well, the signal basically goes to drop the present to hit that particular vehicle. Guys, for the obvious reason, I cannot show you this video, but I have my Telegram where I post everything which is coming from the front lines and what I may found on Telegram or X platform. It's better to call it Twitter after all. X is just some sort of the cringe name. By the way, my friends, just for your information, I have the other channel. It's like a trash channel. I say there about absolutely random stuff. For example, I filmed there the reaction on this body cam video of the drunk driver who nearly hit Kamala Harris convoy. Yesterday I've told about the failed experiment, how the flat earthers tried to prove that the earth is flat. They went to Antarctica and failed with it. So you may find my channel, it's called Captain Danny, right in the video description below. But it's not like something serious which you may find on this channel. No, it's just for fun. Trash content, as I say. Alright guys, probably you know about the situation which happened in Makharovka where Ukrainian forces were encircled. Well, there's some sort of the debate now between the Ukrainian military command, Syrskyi personally, and Ukrainian military analytics and the world Osinit reports. The deep state really shows that Ukrainian forces are being encircled in Makharovka. By the way, I personally also have the report about this encirclement from Ukrainian local military command, like simple commanders, not generals but the low-rank officers, and they confirm this situation. However, the command, high military command of the Ukrainian Hortitsa group say that there was no encirclement. Because of that statement from the Osuv Hortitsa, so from high Ukrainian military command, which say that there is no encirclement, there are some of the military updates, for example, coming from the Michael 73, and they show everything in a gray area. Like instead of this and this part, they show everything gray because they have total uncertainty. Because Ukrainian officials say one thing and other analytics totally different. And Syrskyi himself start to bully the source which I use all the time in my videos, this military map. And it gives reliable, almost real information of what is happening. Yeah, usually Deep State gives like 2 days delay for the information not to be used by our enemy, but Russians already know where they are. And the Deep State doesn't publish the open information about the number of the Ukrainian forces. No, here we speak just about the map and those kind of the pockets which were created because of Syrskyi and his deputies, other generals who are there commanding the Ukrainian forces in a very bad way, as you can see. Because this stuff happened not because of the mighty Russian army, but because of the poor defense. So what Syrskyi wants to do, he wants to hide everything. He wants to close Deep State, completely erase it from the informational field. But if there is space, it will never be empty. And people will try to find for the reliable information. And unfortunately, they may check out the Russian resources because they might think, okay, we have a censorship from Ukrainian military command, so maybe there will be more real picture presented by the Russian sources. So here we play in favor of our enemy. Yeah, guys, I've told you many times about Syrskyi and what I personally think of him. Syrskyi is actually Russian. He was born in Russia. He's completely Russian. And his mindset is from Soviet Union. He is the Soviet general. And by the way, he also has many of the close relatives who live in Russia. By the time he was appointed on position of the general commander of the Ukrainian army, I was really frustrated. I thought that this could happen. And after all, I was right. By the way, those are not the rumors. We have the confirmation about it directly from the Deep State military map source. You may check out their Telegram channel. They openly speak about it. And they say that situation with Syrskyi is not right. So instead of organizing the proper defense, they want to shut down all of the sources of the real, truthful information. But you know what? It will never happen. In the 21st century, the information will be out there no matter what. And I'm here also for the truthful information to be provided to everyone. Alright, Ukraine is on the final step to start the production of the Trita missiles. Compared to the first coming prototypes, the range of the missile was increased by 50%, so now it's 200 kilometers. Roughly, because again the data is kind of secret here, but what we know that missile will be kind of small and will be able to carry just 20 kilos of TNT. But at the same time, the smaller the object, the harder it is to detect it. Together with Trita, Ukraine works on many other projects, including some of the missiles potentially with the range to reach even Moscow. Guys, we all know about the North Korean soldiers that they're definitely take now the part in the real fights against the Ukrainians in the Kursk region. Well, according to the data that comes from Ukrainian officials, North Korea lost at least 3,000 soldiers. I don't think that this number is real. I think that the losses are close to 1,000, not more, because so far there were just 3 of the attacks registered. Well, maybe Ukrainian officials after all know more, but for every side of every war, it's a usual thing to over-exaggerate the losses for your enemy. But after all, yes, there are the losses and they are significant, and because of that, there is the information coming that North Korea may send more soldiers to Russia, first of all for training and later on to fight in the Kursk region. Why? Well, because the tactics with North Korean soldiers after all works. Yeah, here we don't have the latest military map update, but here you may see that Russians took the ground. I will tell you more that they've took the ground over here and over here. In every place they used North Koreans, well, except this area. So in any case, we shouldn't underestimate our enemy, whatever tactics it uses. Also news from Germany, they update their military packages for Ukraine, they increased the military support in general. So obviously after the United States of America, Germany helps Ukraine the most. I hope that this tendency will be supported and continued. However, this talented businessman, Elon Musk, may change the situation for Ukraine in Germany because he strongly supports the German interesting party Alternative for Germany, AFD. This is far right party which is against any sort of the support for Ukrainians. It just retranslates the Russian narratives, and Elon Musk says that it's only way to save Germany, to get AFD elected. I posted this one on my Telegram channel. AFD, kind of interesting, right? So again, those kind of the big billionaires, corporates, they're everywhere, not just in the United States. What they basically need is for the global capital for work for them personally and for their relatives. By the way, the new White House administration is the richest one in the history of the United States. Like the number of the billionaires in the Trump's team is the record one. So do you really think that they care about ordinary people? No, for them we're just electorate, votes. Honestly guys, I'm kind of pessimistic about the future of the planet if those guys really take the power. Again, not just in the United States, but elsewhere. As you know, soon it's gonna be Merry Christmas and New Year. Russia also celebrates that, so their defense minister Belousov decided to present some of the gifts to 3 of the children. 3 of the children. Yeah, some sort of the trips around Russia and visiting the great military parade on 9th of May. But then they spoke about children. I immediately recalled this photo. A happy father drives his sons in the tank. Those are happy. The early preparation of the Russian soldiers. This is the crew of the future T-72 tank, which consists, by the way, of 3 persons. Yeah, Russians continue to brainwash their children. For example, they celebrated the birthday of Stalin in a local elementary school. Yeah, I guess even a Kiss band uses less makeup for the concerts than this lady. The Stalin performance was organized by the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, which gave second one in a rating after Putin's party United Russia. And yes, here they forced children to draw a picture of Stalin and praise Stalin with some old-school communist poems. Yeah, probably the Russian school is the worst place to be a child. Guys, remember the case of the oil spill which happened because 2 of the Russian tankers were cracked. Well, here we have the Russian volunteers who collect the oil on the beaches, and apparently they are the only rescue team for this natural disaster. Volunteers here gathered and record the video that they haven't been supplied by anything. The local administration also said that they are unable to collect the oil, simply they don't care, they don't need the stuff. So by filming this video they want to reach the higher management elite of Russia, but I guess they also do not care. Just few of the propaganda journalists were sent there to the beaches, showing that those guys are not volunteers. No, they are the officially rescue team which helps to fight the disaster. Right guys, as for the front lines, I'm still waiting for the latest update from the deep state military map. I hope they will not be closed, and I also hope that I'm wrong and deep state is also wrong about the Ukrainian army encirclement, the small group of the Ukrainian soldiers, but still the situation is kind of bad in Makariv. Well, anyways guys, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine, and not only now, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so you help me a lot, As usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.